Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Wheeljack. So as we always do, let's go ahead and bring that packaging in, take a look at that. So right up there at the top, you have Wheeljack. You have a little bit of that alt mode artwork right there. Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron. Transformers up the side. Kingdom artwork on the side. On the back, you have your product shots. You have all your warnings, and you do have the sad baby. Over here on the side, you can see that he is a deluxe class, and if we turn that at an angle, you can see the robot and alt mode artwork, both of which look great. Up top, it is the Transformers War for Cybertron, WFC K24, and down low, it is the manufacturing information. So that's it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what came inside that box. Alright guys, so laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box, and we'll start as we always do with a little sheet of warnings. And you do get the instructions for Wheeljack, and you do get the collector's card / sticker that you get with all the Kingdom Deluxe and above. And this time around I got another Black Arachnia. So for those who don't know, this is actually a sticker that you peel away and it reveals more behind it. So there you go. Alright, and the last accessory that you get, or the last thing that came in that box, is his one and only accessory, and this is his little shoulder-mounted missile concussion blaster, whatever you want to call it. So, you know, it's not a lot of detail. It looks okay. Nothing too spectacular about it, though. All right, so that is it. That is it for everything that came inside that box. So let's go ahead and we'll bring Wheeljack in for a close-up and take a look at his details. All right, guys, so before we bring Wheeljack in for his close-up, I do want to make a real quick note here that this is, to the best of my knowledge, the exact same figure as the Earthrise Wheeljack. I don't see any difference in the color of the molded plastic. I don't see any difference in the plastic pieces themselves, the transformation, the engineering, the design, molded in detail. I don't see any difference whatsoever between the two. So if you already have the Earthrise Wheeljack, you're going to be very familiar with this guy. But for those of you who don't, I'll say right off the bat, I think this is a good, fun mold, and I think he's worth picking up. So let's go ahead and bring him in for his close-up. And no doubt about it, that is a Wheeljack head sculpt right there, and he does have those really nice blue eyes under there. And coming down to the chest, good amount of detail in there. I like the paint apps. The Autobot symbol looks good. And, you know, it would have been nice if he was molded in a more white color, more than this cream, but, you know, it's not bad. It really isn't. Once you get used to it, it's just, I think he would have looked better with white. Just my opinion on that, though. And then down here to the legs, overall I think they look pretty good. And you do have a few hollow areas right in here, but it's okay. You know, they're not particularly noticeable. You know, how often are you going to look on the inside of a figure's legs? And for a deluxe class, I think they've done a pretty decent job here. Would have been nice if they could have filled this in just a little bit more, though. And coming up here, and well, let's do the side. Coming over here and looking at those feet. And he does have, we'll see this in car mode as well, but he does have a lot of these little sponsor stickers on him. And as I understand it, there are a few Easter eggs on this. So when you get this guy, if you look these stickers up and some of the stuff that he says on the side, there's actually some cool little information there. And then we'll come up here to the arms. Not a lot going on, but a good amount of detail. It makes him look pretty good, I think. And taking a look at the side. Not too bad. And you lift that arm up. He doesn't have any hollow gaps in the sides. I think he fills himself out pretty nicely. And come around here, take a look at the back. And he's got his little wings there. And pretty much just the back half of the car makes up his back. And good detail all around. So really not a bad looking figure. As I stated, it would have been nice to have had, you know, maybe a more white plastic. But it doesn't really detract from him. It's just kind of a wish list item. Now, as far as articulation goes, on that head, you can get a little bit of up. You can get a little, oh, didn't mean to do that. You get a little bit of up, get a little bit of down before he starts to collapse into his chest. So you could do that if you want. It's like, oh, did I drop some food down my shirt? You can do one of those if you want to do it. And at the shoulders, he has a couple of hinge points here, so this is primarily for transformation, but you can bring that shoulder up if you want. which helps him get up even higher. And of course, he is the smartest student in class, and he's trying to tell the teacher to call on him. And you can bring the shoulders down that far. So just with between these two hinges, you can get some good range of motion on that shoulder. You can take it all the way around if you choose to do so. At the elbows, you get 90 degrees, and you do have bicep rotation. And then down here at the hands, due to transformation, you get a wrist rotation, so that's nice. Coming down here to the waist, you do get waist rotation, so you can take that all the way around. And at the hips, you can get him in the full splits. This is perilously close to a Van Damme, but not quite there. It's a nice try, Mr. Jack, but you didn't quite make it. And then he can kick forward that far. He can kick backward that far. So good range of motion in those hips. And then you do have the thigh rotation, so you can take that around as far as you need to. And at the knee, maybe 90 degrees there. And down here at the feet, you can get a good amount of down on those feet, because that is, of course, transforms into a car. So you can go down that far, you can go up that far, and I don't know where you would use it, but if you wanted to, you could get some nice toe curl out of that if you chose to do that. So totally up to you. And he can almost look like he's sticking the landing if I can get him there. Oh, where are you going? Well, good enough. I was trying to put him in a gymnast stick in the landing pose, and it didn't work out, but you do have really good articulation in this figure. So let's go ahead and we will jump right in to the well, before we get to the transformation, I'll bring in the accessories and we'll talk about the fun with effects and accessories. All right, guys, so here we have Wheeljack with just all kinds of stuff happening here. So I figured the easiest way to show all the effects would be to go ahead and borrow the flight stand, actually, that comes with the Studio Series Soundwave, and plug it into the little port that he has in his back right there, and show you, yeah, he is highly effects compatible. So there's a lot going on here. Now you can see even with the one accessory, with his shoulder-mounted missile launcher there, that it's not directly effects compatible, as it looks like it's firing a projectile, but you can definitely get that rocket effect like the missile is getting ready to come out. And then if you look everywhere else on this guy, I mean, he has so many ports where you can plug in some effects, and it just adds to the playability of this guy. So I mean, they're everywhere. And looking at him now, I made the executive decision, if you will, but I made the decision to not plug one in here. You do have a little male port sticking out right there where you could take an effect and you could plug that in. But yeah, I figured this would be the easiest way, just to demonstrate all the effects compatibility that he has in robot mode. So really limited by your own imagination on what you want to do here. So let's go ahead and we'll get him cleaned up and we'll get into transformation. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into that transformation. So the first thing you're going to want to do, just lift the arms up like that, and then you're going to rotate 90 degrees right there, so you can actually see that as you rotate that, these two pieces come together and it gives you that view right there. Then you're going to take that hand and you're going to rotate that so you have something that looks just like that. You're going to do the same thing over here, so you're going to grab that arm, you're going to rotate it, you're going to rotate that. Once you have these arms ready, then you can come back here and tilt these spoilers in. So you have those spoilers at the ready as well. And then you can come down here, turn your attention to these legs. So take these feet, give them a little bit of a pull, and bring them out so you have clearance right down here, because the next thing that you're going to do is take these legs and you're going to pull them out like this. So we'll do that on both sides, pull those legs out, and then they're just sitting there on double hinges. So you're actually going to bring this leg up, and as you bring it up, it's going to slide in. But before you slide it in, make sure you have this windshield cleared. So bring that windshield up as you're bringing that leg in, and then you can bring that foot down and just give it a squeeze. All right, we'll do the same thing over here. So bring that leg up, push that windshield out, squeeze that leg in, and then give that foot a squeeze, and then you have those two legs ready. So at this point, just squeeze them together. Then you can take this windshield right here, grab this windshield, it's on a double hinge, pull it out, bring it down, and when you bring it down you have these two slots right here, and then you have these tabs on the windshield. You're just going to line those up and then squeeze that together, and that's going to set the windshield firmly in to the legs, and this locks all of this in place. Once you're at this point, take that head, fold that head in, then you can take this entire upper assembly and rotate that 180 degrees. So you've got the top of your car just like that. Now you turn your attention back here to these shoulders. What you're going to do is you're going to utilize the double hinges on these shoulders. You're going to lift these shoulders up and in. And as you do that, you have, let's see, you have this tab right there that's going to go into that slot right there. So you bring this up, bring it in, and give that a nice squeeze and set that in place, and do the same thing on the other side over here. Lift that up. Oh, messing up my spoiler, and give that a nice squeeze. So you should have something that looks like that back there. Now the last step, all you're going to need to do is make sure you're lined up here, because you can still flip this around. Swinging these arms in actually locks all this in so it's on the same axis. So you have this tab here, you have those slots there. You're going to swing those arms in, give those a squeeze, do the same thing on the other side, swing those arms in and give them a squeeze. Make sure you've got everything just nice and tight, and give everything one final squeeze, and that's it. There you have the Kingdom Wheeljack in his car mode. And it's not a bad looking car mode. This is a great rendition of Wheeljack, so I'm really happy with it. So what we'll do now is we will go ahead and take a look at those details, and we'll start up here at the front. And I like what they've done here. This is a nice, sleek, nondescript sports car. So yeah, it's all kinds of logos and things to look at here on the side. Like I said, I think there's some Easter eggs here. I don't know what this says, but I'm sure it says something really cool. And coming back here, you have arrow bolt. Taking a look at the back, you do have a couple of ports for your FX compatibility there. And over here on the side, same thing as the other side. There's the top. There's the bottom. And he does have some visible head syndrome, but if you have this head flipped around, I guess you could just call that one crazy looking differential. Maybe you could go that route with it. So yeah, but for the most part, I think this turns into a really good looking car. So what we'll do now is we will go ahead and throw a couple effects on there, and then we'll get into those comparisons. Alright guys, so here we see Wheeljack in his alt mode with full use of the effects compatibility, and also with his weapon, his one accessory. So he does have at the top of the vehicle mode, he does have a port there where you can plug his accessory in, or any other accessory from any other figure really. It's just a 5mm port, but for the purpose of this review, we're using his weapon, and because that weapon has the effects compatibility and the exhausts, I think this looks like a really cool rocket car. I could have all kinds of fun with this. So the only downside is he's going to be burning a spoiler right here, but hey, good news, you can split that spoiler and get it right out of the way so you don't burn it. But then you're going to affect his aerodynamics and maybe his top speed ability and fuel efficiency and so on and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, yeah, there he is in his alt mode with all the effects for this mode in use, and we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the comparisons now so you can see how he stacks up against some other figures. Alright guys, so for our first comparison, we are going to go just absolutely direct to apples here. So on the left you have the Kingdom War for Cybertron Wheeljack, and on the right you have the Earthrise War for Cybertron Wheeljack. So as I stated earlier, these two, to the best of my knowledge, everything that I can see, they are exactly the same thing. So it is very much like looking in a mirror here. So yeah, I mean, this is the most direct comparison we have, and there is zero difference. So if you already have the Earthrise figure, you're not missing anything getting the Kingdom figure. But if you don't have either one of these, then for sure pick him up. All right. All right, so our next comparison is a mold mate for Wheeljack. This is the Generation Selects Exhaust. So this is the mercenary that works with Double Dealer on the War for Cybertron Trilogy in Netflix. Engineering, design, transformation is the same. Really the only difference between these two are some cosmetic issues or some cosmetic differences, the paint apps, and a different head. So there you go. Next up is the Wheeljack, as we saw him from the Transformers Prime series, and this is a great mold too. I really enjoy this figure, and I would have liked to have seen this Wheeljack have been the same color white as this Wheeljack, but both of these are great figures and a lot of fun. Next up is the MP20 Masterpiece Wheeljack. And yeah, I mean, you can see that even though this is a Masterpiece and this is a mainline deluxe, I think they've done a good job here with the car mode. The car mode on both of these guys just looks absolutely spectacular and so sporty and fun. So yeah, there you go. It's not apples to apples, but I think these two look pretty good together. And our last comparison is the OG. This is my original G1 Wheeljack that I've had for going close to 40 years now. And as I say whenever I bring any of my G1 figures out, yeah, this guy's had a rough life, but he's been very well loved and he was played with a lot. So he's not in the best of shape, but there's a lot of love there. So and you can see just how faithful they were from the G1, just what they brought over as an homage to the Kingdom Wheeljack here. So job very well done. All right, guys, that'll do it for the alt mode comparison. So let's go ahead and get into transformation to get him back into his robot mode. Okay, let's go ahead and get Jackie transformed back into his robot mode. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just look up under here, and you're going to pull these two arms out right here. So just give it a little bit of a grip and pop both of those arms just like that. Come back here, move this spoiler up so it's out of your way. So take both halves of those and just rotate those, because now you're going to take your thumb and your forefinger, you're going to put them right here. Give these a pull on either side. Then you're going to bring those arms down, and you're just going to leave them out like this. So they're just in a T. Bring that head up. And now you can rotate this 180 degrees. So it was like this. Bring it around 180 degrees. Take this windshield, pry this windshield up off of those legs. Bring that windshield up on its double hinge, just like that. And then you're going to tab it right in to these holes right up here. So give those a squeeze, get that windshield in place, and now you have all this torso area taken care of, and now you can turn your attention down here to these legs. So give these legs a split, and then for each of these feet, just go ahead and pull those out a little bit. You're just loosening things up right now, so you're not going to completely transform them, just pull them out. Now you're going to take these legs right here, give these a pull. They're on a double hinge, so they're going to come out just like this. If I can do it on camera and do it smoothly enough you can see me. So they're going to come out just like that. So you got a double hinge just like that. And when you bring these out, take this windshield, push that windshield down, bring this up, and then give that a squeeze right there till it snaps into place, and then you can take that foot and put it where it belongs. So we do the same thing over here. So take that leg out, push that windshield down, bring this up, give that a push till it snaps, and then bring those feet forward. Now the last thing we need to do is just take care of these arms. So what you're going to do with these arms is you're going to turn these 90 degrees at the bicep, and then at the wrist, turn these hands 90 degrees that way. All right, so over here on this one, you're going to turn it 90 degrees at the bicep so the black forearm is facing you, and then turn the hand 90 degrees so of course the open fist or the fist is facing you like that. All right, and that is it for Wheeljack. That's all it takes to get him transformed into his robot mode. So let's go ahead and jump into those robot mode comparisons. Okay guys, so for our first robot mode comparison, here you can see the War for Cybertron Kingdom Wheeljack on the left hand side and the War for Cybertron Earthrise Wheeljack on the right hand side. And as you can tell, there is no difference whatsoever between these two figures. It's a great mold, but no difference at all. Nothing that I can find. Color's the same, molded, color, paint apps, head sculpt, everything is the exact same on these. So a definite apples to apples comparison here. Next up is the War for Cybertron Generation Selects Exhaust. So this is, just like with the Earthrise Wheeljack, this is the exact same mold. So design, engineering, transformation, everything is the same. The only real difference here is just the color of the plastic that was used for the molding and the paint apps and the head sculpt. So everything else is exactly the same on these two figures. And our next comparison is the Wheeljack, as we saw him from the Transformers Prime universe. Next comparison is the MP20 Masterpiece Wheeljack. Here is my very well loved, very much played with when I was a child, G1 Wheeljack. And finally, because he is my universal scale, I had to bring him in. Here's the Kingdom Wheeljack next to the Kingdom and/or Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. So that'll do it for the robot mode comparisons. Let's go ahead and get right into those final thoughts. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Mr. Wheeljack here for a second. We'll go through a couple of bullets here on my thoughts on this figure, and we'll start with the overall aesthetics or the overall look of this figure. I think for the most part, this figure looks pretty good. You know, keeping in mind that this is a deluxe class figure, you know, it's at a $25 US price point. You can't expect miracles. So I think what they've done here for the most part works. It would have been nice if they could have filled in, you know, some of the hollow areas down in his legs. And if they could have maybe found a different way to do something with those arms. I just think those arms kind of feel half-baked, particularly the forearm and the hand area. But for the most part, I think that he pulls it off in robot mode. The car mode, for me, is definitely where he shines. The car mode is absolutely beautiful. It's sleek. It's just fun. So, you know, I would say overall, I think, you know, maybe a 7 out of 10 overall for the aesthetics on this guy. As far as articulation goes, I think articulation is one of his high points. He has all the right joints in all the right places, and he has really good flexibility, if you will. You can get him in a lot of dynamic poses. You know, really the only thing missing at this point is an ab crunch. He pretty much has everything else that you could ask for. So, you know, I'm going to rate him pretty high on articulation. You know, maybe for a figure, for a deluxe class figure, you know, he's probably sitting at an 8 out of 10 on articulation. Now, next one we'll talk about is the accessories. Accessories are kind of weak. He comes with one thing, and that's that shoulder-mounted missile launcher, and even then, it's, I don't know. It doesn't do a lot for me. It would have been nice if he would have come with a toolbox or something like that, you know, because he is the mad scientist of the Autobot group. So it would have been nice if they could have had something else there. So I think he's a little weak on accessories. I'm probably going to give him maybe a 3 or a 4 on that. Quality out of the box, I have no complaints on quality out of the box on this guy. He came with everything he was supposed to. Joints are tight. Everything works as it should. I don't have any mold or paint issues to speak of. So high ranks on quality. You know, I'm giving him a 9 or a 10 out of that because I have 0 complaints. And finally, for me, the overall value for your money on this figure, I'm going to put him at about a 7 out of 10 because he does rank so high in that articulation and his overall looks. He suffers in the accessories category. Made it a little difficult to justify the price point, but he's a well-engineered figure, and the design and the overall looks, quality, and articulation on this figure definitely makes up for a lot. It's worth noting, if you already have the Earthrise Wheeljack, you're getting nothing new here except for a box. So just keep that in mind. If you want to have a spare Wheeljack, great. If you didn't pick him up when he was released in Earthrise, I definitely recommend that you pick him up. I think he's a great addition to your collection, especially if you're somebody who collects the War for Cybertron figure set. Now, if you already have him, totally up to you. You know, I picked him up for the purposes of this review and also for the very faint hope that there may be something different, but there isn't. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to pick, they're the exact same, so it doesn't matter which one, either Earthrise or Kingdom. One of them is going to be in their robot mode on my shelf. The other one is going to be in the car mode. So that's how I'm going to display mine. But yeah, for the most part, overall, I'm going to give this guy a 7 out of 10, and I would give him a recommendation if you don't already have the Earthrise Wheeljack. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you guys got some information out of this review to help you make a good informed decision. And that's going to wrap the review up. So as I always say at the end of these, first and foremost, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. And, be sure, if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like if you like what we do, and leave some comments. Let us know what you think. I try to respond to the comments as often as I can. Sometimes life gets a little busy because I also have a full-time job, and sometimes it's beyond full-time. So I try to respond when I can and get these reviews out when I can. But definitely leave us a comment. I love hearing back from you guys. Sid loves hearing back from you guys. And be sure to check us out on TikTok. Sid has his own TikTok for Hot Wheels, tech decks, little things he's doing there. And I'm trying to develop one for the Transformers. And right now all I have is just a couple of videos of our dogs. But with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks again for watching. And until we see you guys in the next one, take care.